and we both loved French. So we ended up living in Paris. I was there for a year and a half after college, trying to find myself with a French accent. And so then after that, there was this sort of scam that an apartment scam. At the end of that year and a half, I was going to move into a new apartment. I paid cash for several months, as did like 10 other people. And we all showed up that day with fake keys and realized that we'd been scammed. So I was like, okay, it's time for me to go home and do something that I know I'm okay at and that I can get paid to do. So I went to grad school. I knew I could get a scholarship. So I was at LSU for voice at that point. And sidebar, I was the worst singer there, but at least, you know, it was happening. And I learned a lot. And what was the point? So then this whole time, like, my friend John is like, come to California, come to California. You can't escape it. And so my last year, like this last winter break that I had, I was going to try to decide between New York and LA. And I stacked the deck without realizing it. I went to New York for 3 weeks during winter break when it's disgusting.
Yeah,
and
I was about to say.
Yeah, when I stayed in an apartment like that had very little heat, so froze my ass off, and I'm not living in New York. I spend spring break with him in Downey, and it's magnificent from the word go. And so here in LA.
Wow, you didn't even think about
Downey?
it. Yeah.
Yo,
What's that?
are you in Downey?
No. I'm in Hollywood now, but where I was for that spring break. That's where he used to live.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
So what was like the feeling that you got? Because I know like one of the first times that I was at least like really understanding like, oh, that's LA, this is where home is, and like here's the fear. Like I went there and had all kinds of notions. How is the homeless population? Like people are crazy drivers. When you had your first experience coming into your LA, I mean, obviously you're excited, you're with your friend, but what was going through Alex's head at that point, that first year being here in Hollywood?
Well, for one thing, I mean, I knew I was in the right place immediately, like driving over the county line. I drove my little Grand Marquis that barely made it through the mountains of Texas. And I decided not to go on the 10, just to give you too many details, because Texas is just too long that way. So I went up and just did the top part of Texas, but that's very much up and down. And so my car laden with everything I owned and too many books. Why would you bring books across the country? Anyway, the car, I've never opened those books is what I'm saying. Like,
wow, that's a tragedy.
I just thought I needed to impress people with my books. I love books, but I got my own books while I got here. Again, too many sidebars, sorry. So the car barely made it to Los Angeles, but as soon as I crossed the border, September 18th, 1995, at like 8:56 p.m., I felt I was home. It was truly a mystic experience of like, why was I resisting my friend so long? This is exactly where I need to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then my experience was that people were no crazier in California. The traffic was as bad. The attitude towards driving was basically the same as it was anywhere I'd ever been. And so I think it was just a bad rap that California got. And I was happy for people to have that opinion of California so they'd stay away and I could have California to myself.
Yes. I love it.
Where are you from?
Oh, I'm born and raised in Cali. So I love Cali. Yeah, I never want to bring out that bias because I'm like, yo, you know, it will defeat the whole entire purpose of the question. But yeah, I don't want to be anywhere else. I would never want to be anywhere else. And I guess, what's your favorite thing as far as Cali goes? Just so we're seeing, you know, Alex's cool side to him and his relatable side.
Okay. I would say it's the diversity. Uh,
Okay.
at first, I experienced that as like anything I want at some point of the day or night I can get, and that meant entertainment, that meant restaurants, that meant like many, pleasures, I guess. But as I've been here more, and especially as I started practicing Buddhism with a large community, like
Hmm.
what I love about LA is how many cultures are going on, how many languages are going on. That makes it the greatest city in the world.
Really?
Apparently, Los
Because I
Angeles.
hear, huh? Go ahead,
Apparently,
one more
Los
time.
Angeles is more diverse actually than New York. Crazy as that
I
sounds.
was just about to say, I thought the stereotype, and Andy, right? Like that's what New York is for. Like they got everything from one side to the other, but you're saying completely different story
I'm sticking to it. That's what I read.
here. Damn.
My experience too.
Damn. Nice, man. That's awesome. And so how long have you been here for altogether?
Since 95. Oh gosh.
Yeah,
05.
you're gonna have to count the
25,
years.
25 years. Yes.
Yeah.
Quarter of
Wow. Damn. Okay. And I guess
Yeah.
what has stood out to you the most? Because I want to get into the Buddhism stuff, but I really just want to see like what is your experience in that 25 years here being in LA? Because that's a big chunk,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sure there's a lot of memories.
Oh gosh. Yeah. To sum it all up, there goes the head again.
Yeah.
My thinking bobblehead. Uh, 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 I I guess I should approach that by saying like I came with expectations of what my life was going to look like, what I wanted my career to look like, what I wanted love to look like, and giving me, because LA is so diverse, I got so much more than I knew I wanted. Like I love that it's a playground in a way. Basically, it's just a way of experiencing. It's a place to experience anything you want to experience. I feel like I can wake up in LA and go, I'm gonna have an adventure today, and
Well,
I
you
will.
now.
So you do now. Do you think that's the
Um,
like
things have changed slightly in the past 9 weeks, but
just a little bit? Do you think it's like it's good to keep that because that sounds very innocent? I know we were cracking up about your kindergarten diploma, but do you think that's like the keeping the child side a part of your adulthood as you grow older and kind of in your mindset?
definitely. That's a great way of putting it. Like keeping the not a childish mindset,
Mm-hmm.
because children, as children, we can really be fixated with things,
Mm.
but there's also the greatest aspect of a child mind is constantly seeking to learn and experience. And I have tried to keep that fresh. I do
Mm.
not want to bore myself. I do not want to, if I find myself doing something the same way over and over again, I really try to rethink it.
Ah, okay, okay, that's awesome.
So
Yeah.
when you were younger, like growing up, little, right? You're still kind. I have to put it in that perspective because you're still kind of like young, like
Thank
like little, like in that
you.
realm of still, right? And but growing up, long, not too long ago. But anyways, um, what was that like? Like, where were you at, and what was that like growing up? And did you know you were gonna go this direction? Did you like to act? Like, what was that like?
Excellent. Yes. So um, I'm from Lake Charles, Louisiana, which is fifth largest town in Louisiana, and I, I I find I'm very fortunate that I was born with a Cajun mother and a sort of country club father. And they divorced when I was 9 months old. And I would,
Wow.
my father had visitation every other weekend. So I would go to his house and his mother's house every other weekend. And so I was mainly rooted in the Cajun culture, a very close family, not a lot of rich people laying around. And then I could go to...
People are just laying around, right? They're just...
By the way,
Yeah,
I watched Carrie's interview, and I'm like, I was just reminded like how frigging articulate she is. Like she really like expresses herself so beautifully. And I find myself so many times just like word vomiting and hoping like the other people pick out the gems from the... So good luck. So at a...
He said good luck.
Actually, this is kind of Cajun growing up. So this is like on the bayou kind of Cajun growing up, like in the swamps with the like, what do they call those?
Don't say that.
What are they? The ones, the voodoo
Swamp
ones?
people?
No, the voodoo Cajun. You know what I'm talking about?
Witches? You're not helping here.
No, not the witches. He knows what I'm talking about. From there, he knows what's up. He said Cajun, so he's like sort of in that realm of things, right?
Witches and bayou swamps? He's sort of in there?
No, that's not.
I do know how to make alligator sausage. Yes, I can do all that stuff.
Really?
No. I was always that persnickety child. Like, I didn't want to.
Oh, you're the Cajun guy that lived down the street from the Cajun shop.
Yes, that was me.
But not the Cajun guy that used to go in the swamp and actually catch gators and do all the Cajun stuff, right?
Oh, we were citified Cajuns by that point. But there are two main kinds of... There's actually three, and I can't remember the other kind. But like historically, Cajuns either settled along the water, swamp Cajuns, or in the prairies. And so my family came out of the prairie people.
Oh, I guess you're a little house on the prairie Cajun.
I was going to say, little house on the prairie.
Little house on the prairie Cajun. That's cool.
Right.
Aye.
Oh, all that to say, like, I got to see two very different worlds growing up. And that was fascinating. Like, they weren't the blendy. I got to see, like, people living in different ways with two very different life perspectives. And so I got to make choices early on. I got to decide like what I wanted based on two very different choices. What was the original question? Oh, yeah.
How it was growing up.
And artistically. So I think that's helped me, like, as an actor and as a coach and as a human being, like being exposed to already early on two different ways of thinking and being. And artistically, I went to May's little friend's kindergarten, and we had... Wait.
What was the name of that place? May's little kindergarten. May's little kindergarten. Shout out to May. All right, continue.
And she was... That name sounds so sweet. She was a stern taskmaster. You did not mess with May. She was like pulled back.
Her name's May. How do you take her seriously? Her name's May. May comes up to me and says, "Go run 2 miles." Your name's May.
Somebody, or is that really her name?
Is that really her name? Does it really say May on there?
You have like adopted names that you kind of just like they happen when you're really little. Or
like Andy, that's an adoptive name.
Yeah.
Is it really? What's that for?
No, I'm kidding. It's May. It stands for May. Andy stands for May.
We live in LA. We can make it all up. It's great.
Oh man. Okay, so we went to May's kindergarten. Continue, please.
Yes. And it's all coming back to me. Her husband was the strong, silent type. His name was Austin. I have not thought of that in I don't know how many years. Anyway, so we had a rhythm band, you know, with like cymbals and tambourines and blah blah blah.
Like
And
this
we'd
thing?
Like
try, yes,
Yeah,
spoon,
that thing. Yeah.
and we'd sing songs. The graduation, now I recall, was very artistic. We did a performance of Green Eggs and Ham, and so I was always like singing, like that. Well, it's quite a
Man,
sublime.
it's so creative. Come on now.
Let's remember, we're back in like what, like 6 or 7 years old, right?
I'm
Yeah,
impressed you have that memory.
5, I think. Yeah.
That's pretty good. You got that memory.
Well, I'm leading up to the story of graduation and Green Eggs and Ham because this was a seminal time in my artistic life where, one, I was like doing stand-up and singing songs in the grocery cart at Kroger's because based on May's teaching us all these songs and stuff, and I was taking requests, and if I didn't know the song, I would just sing "You Are My Sunshine." But then on the theatrical side, when we were doing Green Eggs and Ham, if you recall this great script, it's like there's Sam who goes from person to person, and each person has a bit, like the first person has several lines, and then the next person has to do those several lines and adds on, and then each person that Sam is interviewing after that, the script just gets longer and longer for that person, right?
You had the whole Kroger going with this thing?
No, this is back. Sorry, I'm jumping around.
And he looks so concerned.
I was thinking, damn, when is John Boss or John? What is that modeling school that always tries to get people on board?
What?
You know what I'm talking about? That they go in all the stores and malls and they always try to get people on board.
Oh yeah.
I was like waiting for that to come in, and I was standing in the cart singing, and the whole Kroger was going, and all of a sudden they came up and said I should be a model and I should join their 5,000 a month deal.
I've dropped out ever since it was May's and Green Eggs and Ham. All right. And her husband's name is Austin.
Austin.
That's such a normal name compared to May.
Yeah, get a good nickname. That's the thing.
Right,
Maybe.
continue. Sorry.
Right.
My bad.
Go ahead.
So it's rehearsal. It's like the second to last rehearsal of Green Eggs and Ham before the big graduation night. And somebody, I was very disgruntled with my part because it wasn't as big as some other people that followed me in the succession of monologues. And so the teacher realized that after I went, other people didn't know their lines as well, but I was mouthing the words the entire time. I knew everybody's part. So like the day before graduation, she plucks me out of my part and puts me at the end, like, which is basically the biggest part of the script. And I've been a wicked person since then, just like show girling way through Hollywood.
Wow.
Don't stand in front of me on stairs. Just don't do it.
What?
I don't.
What?
You're not show.
That got real dark.
Wait, you need a lot of beans,
Watch out for Boling, man. He's got you.
He's like a
cop you out.
We just don't go in front. Like
I just showgirls was in everybody's vernacular. You know, like Gina Gershon, she's the Vegas showgirl, and Elizabeth, what's her name? Berkeley. She's like the up and coming dancer, and Elizabeth's not getting any traction being the star. You know, she's not able to become the star. She's just the understudy. So when Gina Gershon is walking down the stairs, Elizabeth pushes her.
I saw that coming. That's why I saw that coming. I was like, he's pushing somebody. He gonna push somebody. Somebody gonna get pushed down these stairs. I know Mean Girls. That's what it sounds like.
Okay. Basic story. It's good.
All right, so when did you transition out of Louisiana, and where did you go after that?
Pushing people downstairs with May's, Green Eggs, and Ham.
You got kicked out of school for pushing people. I
know. That's what we're getting at here. Pusher.
When you put it like that, my childhood is exotic. It didn't feel exotic at the time, but Um, so
Got it.
I went to college at Yale because that was nice and far away. I wanted something very different, and that's when I majored in psychology, because I thought I was going to like save the world one couch at a time, and then realized I actually I will listen to all your problems, but at a certain point I will shut down, and I don't want to. This is a very different person then, but you know, when I'm 20 and deciding what I want to do with my life, I realize psychology is not the way. I don't like people enough at that point. And that's when I moved to Paris. And
Start pushing people downstairs again.
that's right. There's so many stairs in Paris, so many opportunities
Oh shit.
to get ahead. And then grad school with voice at LSU, and then LA. Yeah, 1995. That's the story.
Oh, cool.
Damn.
Awesome. I see. I see.
Damn.
So what?
So
So what do you do now besides acting? Any fun, interesting things that you float yourself along with, especially now?
I love to do acting coaching.
Ah, there we go.
Like verb for that. I act and coach. Yeah,
You're
there we
an
go.
acting
I
coach.
coach
yeah,
acting.
acting coach.
That's
You
how
are
we say it. Okay.
coaching actor.
I love. I'm a coaching actor.
Do you
Yes.
push any actors downstairs? Is that an exercise?
That's
And like while you're eating green eggs and ham? I was
What-
just wondering.
what are your
My dark side from the beginning. This is yes. Um, no, I'm liking Zoom because there's no opportunity to actually like hurt people for real. I when I started taking acting lessons when I got here to LA, formal acting training, I never thought I'd want to coach. I was on one hand very impressed by what my coach was doing, and on the other hand, I had in the back of my mind like, if you're a great actor, there's no reason that you should ever have to teach. You know, just very arrogant.
Oh.
I didn't even want to admit it to myself, but that was definitely going on in my mind. And so I find myself now acting coaching, and it's one of my favorite things in the world.
cool.
So wait, Alex, so you're saying an actor will look at being a teacher like it's beneath them, or saying that they're actually supposed to be a teacher and don't want to kind of like have that self-awareness to realize that's what they might have more enjoyment or fulfillment in?
Yes. both of those things were happening at the same time.
Wow, that's a struggle. That's like a very internal struggle.
Yeah, it hurt.
How long did that go for?
Till last week, I guess. No, I not to go into Buddha for just a second. There's we're always self-reflecting and saying, how can I improve my life? And in that self-reflective process, I know that I live in the world of arrogance. Like my self-worth, it's very easy for me to fall in the trap of trying to figure out my own self-worth by comparing myself to other people. That's the nature of arrogance. And sometimes I find myself superior in the comparison, like when I'm looking at my teacher many years ago and going, well, I guess I'm a better actor if he has to be a teacher. And the flip side, it's also arrogance to compare myself to him and say, I could actually never be as good as him as a teacher, so I'm not going to try. So it's just two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
And once I realized, that that's a basic tendency of mine, I've really, really worked hard to stop comparing myself to other people and just try to value my life just as it is.
Cool. So when you got here and you started coaching with different places and different people, who all did you coach with?
I have My primary coach through many years has been
Tell
Doug.
you because I'm a coach right now, and I don't want anyone to go to me.
Oh, it's actually like because I mean I wanna sing this man's praises. Doug Warhit, like he's the person I with the longest.
Yeah.
And I've been to classes where I want to stand up, you know, after being there for so many years and tell young people who are talking about going to other people and say, don't bother, please. Like I've been with him for X number of years. Please don't waste your time. This is where you need to be. Yeah. And Doug actually told me, don't say that. So like my hesitancy to yeah. I want to be his biggest PR agent, and he's like, shut up.
All right.
Have you guys ever thought about working in like collaboration? I know some schools, you know, think about doing that. They open schools together.
I think, I mean, at this point, he's just really solid the way he's all set up. But he does send me private students when he, you know, when his workload's just too big or. I think he doesn't actually work with that many young people also. And I love working with like children and teenagers and stuff. So I'll take all those students.
Yeah. How does that work out with working with kids? Because I mean, like, I would think they would be like ADD up the yin yang, you know what I mean? Like, and how to get them just to sit down and be like, okay, no, we're going to memorize the words today. You're going to go on screen today and you're going to cry. Like, how does that work?
Have you ever seen the tape of? Did you see E.T.?
I saw the movie E.T.
Okay,
Yeah.
Great. So I thought that young actor was amazing, and his audition tape is on one of the DVD extra sort of things, and Steven Spielberg just talked to him, and created a game out of like a scenario that somebody's trying to take your father away from you, and like just thinking about that makes me cry. And he immediately went into child's play mode, like it was real to him. And this is what's beautiful about children, is they totally believe what's in front of them. So you present them with a scenario and they're in it. And I find that like if I bring that to my acting, and if I can find that hook for an adult actor where they will just totally play like a child, acting is so easy. And luckily, I don't put up with the child not knowing any lines. The parents always bring their child with the lines memorized, so that hasn't been a problem.
That's good. Okay, awesome.
But the spirit,
I didn't know. Yeah.
The child's so fun to be around. I learned so much.
How do you balance the two? Like, I always want to ask coaches this that act still as well. How do you juggle the two and then not having conflicts of interest? Like, how does that all work out?
Oh, there is only once where I've seen not a conflict of interest, where I coached someone in the morning, and when he brought me the audition, only when I saw it on paper did I realize, like, oh, I have the same audition this afternoon. But
oh, that's awkward.
He was an extremely different person from me. Like, there is no way, I don't think anybody's going to be able to come out with the same performance, even if they're coached by the same person, right? And the two of us were such different types that I couldn't direct him to be like me if I wanted to. And I certainly didn't want to. So I did my best. I said, let me tell you now what's going on. I have this audition too. Do you want to, we can find you another coach for this if you want. And he was okay with it.
Oh.
And neither of us got the job, so no worries.
Okay. And so, like, have you ran into that on set? Like, how do you introduce yourself, like, if you're in a set situation? Like, you say, hey, I'm Mr. Alex Boling. I like green eggs and ham, pushing people downstairs, and I'm an acting coach. And it's like, but wait, you're an actor on set.
It's on the posture. That's why I push you down the stairs.
I've always got my hand ready like this. So I don't really like talk about it on the set. I feel like I do more listening than anything else. I'm always fascinated by people on set, and so I end up asking them questions. I'm the interviewer. The coaching has mainly come from word of mouth, so it's never. Yeah, I never even thought of that. I should wear a sandwich sign on set, huh?
Sandwich sign. Green eggs and ham casting. Acting coach.
You singing? Like voice singing? Really good with it.
I missed the verb. Did you say?
Do you coach for singing? Like, because you're excellent with it. So I wonder.
I appreciate that. I have not. I have finally gotten very confident about singing, and that took decades. So I haven't yet gotten to the point where I feel like I could teach people. I'm just right now just enjoying the phase of like, oh, singing is great. And I'll tell you that this just came to me. The greatest advice I got about singing and what really freed me up. When I was going to grad school for it, and I told you I was like the worst singer in the program, but I could act circles around everybody without any training whatsoever. Just I had an idea like, oh, you go over here, stand in the light, like let the music allow the emotions to come out. That stuff was very natural to me. So when I got to LA and I decided I'm going to try this, I'm going to be an actor. I never thought of myself as a singer. And it's only in the past like 4 years that, I started coming back to this notion that maybe I'm not just the neighbor who sings funny in a musical. I can actually I can make pretty things that people could be encouraged by. But the advice that sort of broke the dam for me was like, if you really listen to people that we're drawn to as singers, not everything that comes out of their mouth is necessarily technically perfect or gorgeous in a traditional way. It's just all connected. It's all encouraging. It's all sparkly, meaning like I can come out with a frog's croak on one note or for an entire song. But if that's connected to the emotion of the song, if that's what people need to hear, then that frog's croak is beautiful.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense?
Unless you live next to Alex and all his neighbors moved because he tried to start singing.
Oh, damn, that's jacked up, bro. I'm a terrible singer, but that's jacked up. That is messed up, bro.
You want a good, cheap property? It's next door to him.
Wow. You're saying I'm so bad I brought down the housing market? That's rough, bro. That is rough. Like, hey, you want to know what? Houses over here, about 700,000, 800,000. We got even the $1 million houses over here. You want a cheap house? It looks like you got okay credit. We should put you over here in the $400,000 house, right over here. That's jacked up, man. My heart is killing. You want to know what? At least I don't push people down freaking stairwells. He's gonna be the serial stairwell pusher. And like, you want to know what's bad too?
A random streak of people getting pushed down stairwells. If you see this guy, his
tagline, Alex, your tagline is going to be pushing someone down the stairs while you're singing.
It's epic. It's like an epic opera.
No,
yeah, man. Yeah.
He does this. He does the E.T.
Sometimes just requires a little tiny
push.
All right, let's go off of this and let's go into your Buddhism thing because it just feels so right.
based on violence. Let me tell you my
violence.
practices.
Let's calm this down a little bit and go into your chanting and Buddhism thing.
Why, Baldy?
He froze for a second. He's like, let me transition properly. Hold on.
Yeah.
I'm dead.
Let's see how to segue. I'll just tell you how I was. Okay, so for everybody who doesn't know, I chant Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. That is my basic Buddhist practice. It's with a worldwide community called the SGI, and so I was introduced 15 years ago by somebody who moved into this duplex that I had, and she was supposed to help out her daughter, who was having a baby, and it was supposed to be for a few months, and actually she ended up staying like 10 years to help with the baby for 10 years. And I was just at that point that she moved in, I was at the lowest point in my life. Like, I had never encountered so much adversity all at once.
Wow.
Financial, emotional. It was all stemming from, I had some roles on TV and some movies, and I was like, I feel like my career was really cooking. I was going in the right direction, and I decided to help produce this movie, an independent movie called Strange Fruit. And it was to take place in a very small town in Louisiana. And
wow, full circle.
The experience, yeah, I was coming back, and to me, this was going to be an amazing experience where I could show people that everybody had the wrong idea about Louisiana. Like, my experience in Louisiana would be proven to be like, really what was happening with everybody. And like, Louisiana was just getting a bad rap, especially with racism. What a dummy. And so, like, this script, like, I was just, somebody I knew wrote it, and I decided I was going to put money behind this, and this was going to open people's eyes, and it was just going to be a good movie for everybody. And it was also going to help my career. And instead, I realized that, the story is about racism, but I thought, like, we had moved past that, in Louisiana. And while we were there in Louisiana, it really, like, the homophobia and the racism, because the lead character is a gay Black man, and it was shocking to me. It should not have been, but it really demoralized me to see the reality of the situation. And plus, like, I was having to do so much, just administrative stuff that I had never done before. It was blowing my mind. I was seeing people, greed, like, play out every day on the set and behind the scenes. And I was just like, I was spent financially and emotionally when I came home to to LA. And at that point, like, she said, well, I think I have something for you. This woman, Shigeko. And she walked me by the hand to a community center, which happened to be 7 blocks away. And I heard the sounds, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. And I was like, it was that feeling of when I drove over the county lines in Los Angeles. I am home. It resonated so deeply with me, that's what I do now. Yes.
Wow. And how long has that been now?
That's been almost 16 years.
Oh, wow. So you're pretty deep in there. Kind of deep in the
yeah.
But now you're deep in
I have not pushed one person down the street in 16 years.
Oh, okay.
That's the turning point of the story.
You're a senior what?
No, I said I haven't pushed anybody down the stairs in 16 years.
Oh, so you and Amy are the only judges of that.
So
Austin's just here for the ride.
Is there a temple or something? Like, um to that, like where do you go? Where's the temple? Like what's, I don't know.
Good question. Good question. So most of the practice happens in our own homes. Um, and I know Carrie talked about this, but we have like a mandala. We have a scroll that we chant in front of. It acts like a mirror because we're not worshiping it, but we get to, when we're chanting very actively with our eyes wide open, looking at this, we can go like, oh, my arrogance, it's pretty strong today. Let me bring out something to transform that in my life today. And I always see good results from, starting the day like that. But as far as getting together for meetings, they usually happen in people's homes in groups of like 10 to 20 people. They become our family.
Yeah.
What's that?
No, it just sounds very like comforting and intimate, like what you're already saying, meeting in someone's home and it's 10 to 20 people. I'm just listening.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Amazing.
Yeah, there's certain people, mystically we end up in smaller groups like that called districts with exactly the people we need to, we make the causes to find ourselves in the right group to make us do the work we need to do on ourselves. Like, for example, my first district, I end up with people that show me my arrogance, very, very strongly and make me go, okay, this really is something I need to work on in my life. So when we get together in larger groups, that's at community centers. So we don't call them temples because there are no priests. There's no hierarchy. It's all very equal playing field.
Does someone like lead and again, this is just to two people who have no idea what it is. Is there someone that kind of like leads the charge of like however the time spent in that vicinity is going to go with the occupants that are in it?
Yes, we do have volunteer leaders. That's a great question. Okay. And so nobody's paid to do it, but we can decide to take, to support other people in the practice. And these districts, these family-sized districts, each have teams. And the ideal is to have like some older people on the team, some men, some women, just to make sure that all voices are represented. And so it's kind of democratic in a way of like, there's no one person sort of, there's not really an opportunity to take over.
Oh, okay.
No. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So we have volunteer leader teams, I guess is what you call it.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, that's awesome. It's very fluid. I mean, there's never like a push of egos or anything like that. That's really awesome.
Oh, there are. And that's
there are. There are. Okay.
But that's why we practice, like,
yeah.
When I did start with the group, I thought, oh, well, let me go back farther. Before I started practicing, like I worked at a nonprofit called Project Angel Food. And I got into this thinking like, well, the mission of this charity is so frigging awesome that anybody that would work here must be a friggin' saint. They must levitate. They must, poo good thoughs. There's just no way that
poo good thoughts.
I told you I'm not always that articulate. So the reality of that was so eye-opening to know that like office politics go on in a nonprofit. There are people jockeying for power and for raises at a nonprofit. And actually, that was actually one of the things too that made me really try this Buddhist practice. That was going on at the same time as this movie, the aftermath of this movie, where I was trying to make sense of how can I be a good person in any situation, even in a place that I think is supposed to be great. It actually takes each individual deciding to be great, right? Mm-hmm. So the SGI is a collection of humans just like everywhere else, and in maybe a safer environment, we get to dialogue out our problems. We get to test out, these noble ideas of how human beings can live together.
And how has that helped your acting, and two, your teaching?
Well, remember when I said that in the beginning, how I didn't become a psychologist because I realized I didn't like people? Well, it turns out you really need people, like, in order to function as a human being.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. And so I find the chanting and the, like the rubbing up against with other human beings in the Buddhist setting has really helped me realize, like, what's beautiful about me in my life and what's beautiful about the people that even drive me crazy. And so I can say now, like many years later, that I genuinely like people. And perhaps that is the most fundamental, shift that's helped my acting and my coach and everything. And there's this theory in Buddhism called the 10 worlds, which is a way
I'm listening. I want to hear more. Yeah. We're both listening. Yeah. I'm like, okay, it's 10 worlds. I want to hear this.
About one world.
Well, no, it's like the 12 rules of life.
You're not so sage. Like, I was like, oh, they're experts. They know this.
No.
10 worlds? Yes. Not like we know anything about 10 worlds. I'm still thinking about the Cajun Prairie, but I mean, it's all good. I want to know about 10 worlds.
Do you know how far we jumped from Cajun Prairie, bro? That was like 45 minutes ago. I'm like deep into this, like,
related.
That whole thing. I thought you guys went to temples, and all that stuff. But I was like, oh, different thing going on. I had no clue.
Alex, push him down the stairs. Push him down the stairs and tell us about the 10 worlds, okay? Please. Yeah, I want to hear about the 10 worlds.
But by the way, I have been to a district meeting in the plains, in the Cajun plains of Louisiana.
Wow.
I drove an hour and a half with my mother to go to a double wide trailer outside of Lafayette, Louisiana. And
you're lucky to be here.
I'm lucky.
What? What did you say? What did you say?
Lucky to be here today.
You need to get pushed down some stairs. That's what you need in your life.
He's asking for a push-in. It's true.
He's asking for a push-in. May help me.
This is because
I need May.
All these characters coming together. It's epic. So, get serious. The 10 worlds in Buddhism.
I'm a master at it.
It's describing, yes. It's describing 10 life states, which used to be thought of as like very discrete life states that you would go through, like, in this lifetime, because of what I've done in the last lifetime, I'm just going to live in hell. In this lifetime, I'm going to...
This is the 10 worlds?
What?
This is the 10 worlds?
This is an old understanding of life, or Buddhism. I'm taking you through something.
Okay. We haven't gotten to 10 worlds yet. We almost did, but then I screwed that up. Now we're talking about...
Stop it. Alex, I want to hear what you have to say. God damn it. God damn it.
I'm muting myself.
Mute him? Yeah. Okay, great. Thanks.
I'm muted and I'm opening the door for some oxygen so I don't interrupt anymore, all right?
Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. My stomach hurts. Oh, my God. Holy crap. I was like, you actually left.
10 worlds.
I had to get the
10 worlds, Alex. Please explain.
So
Okay, so the ancient way of thinking of karma and lives was that you were stuck in a world. You were stuck in a way of, in your karma, like at least that lifetime and beyond, right? So you might think like, oh, if I'm in hell, my entire life is going to be hell. If I'm in this state of hunger all the time where I can't, I get what I want and then I'm hungry for it again. So almost a state of addiction. That's another world. But the old view is that you're stuck in that. There's nothing you can do about it. You just hope that the next lifetime is better. Then,
wow, that's stuck.
Huh? That is stuck. That is stuck.
Right? Yeah, that does suck. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's the old way, right?
That's the old way. That's very pessimistic. That's very deterministic. Yeah. It's not a jolly way of thinking. So then, like,
a jolly way of thinking. I'm Santa. I'm in world number 4. Come on, Alex, you had that coming, man. You had that coming. You said jolly. We're in summer.
Fair enough.
Okay, so
well, ho ho ho.
So there was more.
So then along comes a more modern way of thinking. Buddhism comes up about 500 BC. Shakyamuni is trying to explain to people like, you are actually the master of your destiny. Like, you can change everything in an instant. You don't have to hope for the next lifetime. So what ends up coming out of his way of talking is an idea that we have all these life conditions. We basically have an infinite array of life conditions, from a very low life condition to just an impossible to describe high life condition called Buddhahood. And they all exist within ourselves at the same time, right? Oh. So I can experience hell. I can experience a state of feeling hopeless and absolutely feeling like a victim. But I've always got this high life state waiting in the wings, just waiting to be called out, just waiting to come to the fore. So it's not this like ladder step, 10 worlds.
Okay.
It's actually,
you can jump.
You can jump. You can just call forth the one you need.
Okay.
So and you've always got Buddhahood waiting to create value out of wherever we find ourselves. We just have to say its name, which is Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. So anyway, to get back to the original question.
Okay.
As an actor and as a coach, I find that framework of thinking very helpful, to know that I've got all these characters within me. I've got all these life states inside of me.
Why are you laughing, Andy?
Sorry, man. I'm trying to, all right.
It's great.
I'm trying. Okay, thank you. Andy, calm yourself, bro. Calm yourself.
I'm good.
Alex, please.
I'm good. I'm into this. This is like actually really cool. I actually honestly can't wait for your show with Carrie, to be honest. This is actually a fun show with you, to be honest. Also,
well, right back at you. I'm so glad this is not boring. This is great.
No, I never knew there was a Buddhahood, which then in my artistic mind with all this creativeness, I'm like, oh, I got the best title for this video.
But you want to know what? It actually makes sense, Alex, because when you're describing Buddhahood being the ultimate priming state of this human condition we call life, I mean, in any sense, universally speaking, if you have a set in the morning, a routine, something that gets you in the best framework, right? It's essentially the same thing, right?
Right. I want to.
Okay, yeah.
I want to kick off the day in the highest life condition possible.
Versus what you were saying before.
Yeah.
Right.
What did I say before about pushing people down the stairs?
Caught that. No, like the 10 worlds where people believe that they would live in only this world and you would just hope for the next lifetime
Right. Right.
versus choosing that.
Right. Exactly. In the moment, we
Okay.
can choose any of it.
Got it. Okay. I'm
So,
following. I'm following.
so I never like talk in those terms to students, but it helps me remember, like, even if that the person in front of me has the potential to be any of these things. So my job is just to bring out whatever world this character is in. If this character is an addict, I can help them bring out the life state of hunger effortlessly. Not have to
okay.
do all kind of, weird gymnastics, mental gymnastics or stuff. I'm just going to help them hook into that life state for them.
Follow. And do they see that, or do they go, okay, wait, I'm kind of not understanding this very much?
No. I never talk theoretically like that. It's
okay.
It's all lying and subterfuge to get them there. Yeah.
No, it's, follow.
It's
okay.
all. I mean, for me,
you said subterfuge.
I like to drop my $50 every once in
crazy.
This is all subtext.
I busted out my bang for this. Why is it disappearing? Anyways.
It is disappearing.
Andy. Woo!
I have to focus. Bang.
Andy, you need to go back to the prairie. So, do you notice a better way of implementing or at least teaching? Is essentially what I'm asking here. Is pre-Buddhism to post-Buddhism? Because I think a lot of people have an idea of a fat guy that you rub his tummy, and that's what most people. I'm for real, Andy. I'm not even trying to be disrespectful. I think. Yeah, I think that's what the stereotype really is.
That's what I thought. Absolutely.
So
okay,
yeah. The temple with all the 12 guys and all that stuff.
So the takeaway from the 10 worlds is that everybody's a Buddha, or everybody has this potential, right? So I used to approach other people from an arrogant world, the world of always comparing myself to other people. That's actually world number 4. And so that was the life state I tended towards. And I couldn't imagine being a coach, because I couldn't imagine not being in front of someone where I would always think that instead of encouraging them, and instead of seeing them as a Buddha in a way, instead of seeing that they had the potential to be a great actor and to find whatever they needed inside of themselves, I knew in my heart that I would just spend all my time comparing myself to them, and either thinking like I'm a far better actor than they are and I can't get them to where they need to be, or wow, they're just naturally more talented than I am, I don't know what to do with them. That's the arrogant world I lived in, and which kept me from becoming a coach for so many years. Now, 15 years later, where I work on my arrogance through the Buddhist practice so much, I can look at the person in front of me and just see the most unique, beautiful person with so much potential. And I am so excited to bring that out of them. I am so happy to be part of that process.
It's like gratitude with like having a security within oneself, right?
Great. Mic drop. You said it.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just, because that's what it really, I mean, it really seems like you're like, I could feel, and I have a mixed feeling about auras and whatnot. I don't know if I see greens, yellows, and blues, but that's what I'm receiving from you right now. Is like a true sense of gratitude in one's work, and not feeling so insecure about the surrounding circumstances.
That's right.
That's actually really cool that you're like that, because now a lot of people are just like single-minded towards what they need out of something. You know, that's why our mentality with Stay Up Networks is you, give, rather than me, take. And I've always hated that. It's just like, oh man, really? Like, why is it always like this? I can only give so much and just not get anything back, and not be, looked at as an asset or a value of any sort just because you need something and then easily disposed. But it seems like you go deeper than that, and you see that value and you want that person to win on a level that they need to win. And I do that when with management and with my photography, especially like my clients. I want them to win. I want them to get the shots that book them, that get them in the rooms, that help them. And I don't care if I go an extra 3 miles to get that outside of what was initially put in. Like at that point, it's my creativeness to help this person win. And so regardless what was paid and all that type of material stuff, for me myself and the way I am, I want it to be 100%, if not 150%, and I want them to win. And I feel like you're the same kind of type of person a little bit, and that's why this is really cool that you guys are doing a show, because I feel like you and Carrie kind of mesh like that, and you have the same outlook, but you're really all about helping people. Because I know Carrie does a lot of like mentorships and stuff like that, and none of that consists of anything materialistic. She's just doing it for her own self, just like you. And I really like that, about you guys a lot. And I think that's why I'm mainly attached to seeing if you wanted to be part of this and do a show. I can't wait for your show, actually.
Well, we're so happy to be a part of it, because when you gave us that tagline about what the network was about, that's totally what just made our minds explode to where it needed to be to create a show. So thank you.
Wow.
Yeah, because when I tell people that tagline, most everybody is like, wow, that's cool. I'm in. Let's do it. But then you get the ones that are like, what are you going to pay me? What do I get out of this? It's like, whoa. All right, well, I don't think you're right for this network or any of this. I'm sorry, like I don't know what to say at that point, because it's like I'm not going to sit here and dish out loads of cash in a pandemic when everybody needs to be uplifted and have good positive things from each other and come together. The whole object is to just get everybody together and have them help each other through this. Maybe somebody's on a journey that somebody else is trying to be on or below their journey. And instead of going to the left, this person's saying, no, go to the right. This is the right path. And so because they told their story and they told their whole thing, now this person on that same kind of journey is going to go that path rather than the one they might have taken, all because somebody helped them, because they were on Stay Up Networks and they did a show. It inspired them, and now they go that direction. It's just helping each other and networking, and it's good karma. I think everything's based around good karma. So everybody needs
Alex, can I ask you one last final question?
Okay. Yes.
He said okay. So us, obviously all three in agreement on kind of the same moral value here. In your, let's call it just in the 25 years of being in LA, what is it that you think that is the difference when you see somebody who's not as grounded as you? And this might be a little bit comparing, so let's see how big this arrogance is. But doesn't have that kind of ability to just sit with themselves, because we're in a quarantine now. We have to be all by ourselves. There's people dealing with different stuff. I know different challenges. I know one that's going on right now is like 25 push-ups for PTSD, anxiety-stricken people. That's kind of going on the web right now. What do you think is the mindset or the difference that separates, or just the person hasn't come to the conclusion of it, of someone in your shoes in the Buddhist lifestyle, or any lifestyle that gives them that security, and the person who isn't?
I think it comes down to hope. When I started the practice, I was really at a point of hopelessness. And I think that's where many humans are, if not the vast majority. They have only experienced a certain karma. They only know what they know. And so they can't see a solution or a way forward that's not what they already know. And clearly, like, the world's solutions are going to be things that surprise all of us. They are going to be like huge shifts in humanity's way of thinking. So I think it's our job as people who have found a source of hope, and that's self-generating. Like, we have tapped into that part of our lives that can just like find the hope in everything to keep going. I really think it's our mission to, no matter how long it takes, dialogue with people until they can see the hope in their lives. And that's hard work. And that's the person who used to not like human beings saying that. Like, it's it's only because other people took the time to dialogue with me and like help me find the hope in my life that I can be so happy knowing that that's my mission in life. That everything I do contributes to helping other people find that hope in their life.
That's cool.
Wow. That's
Awesome.
amazing, man. I appreciate that, Alex.
No, I appreciate y'all helping me bring out my best. Thank you.
All right. I got one last question before we go to the final questions, right?
Okay.
Final questions.
Are you under a bunk bed?
I am.
Under a bunk bed?
Yeah. That's creepy enough.
Oh, wait, there he is. He is. Oh, my God.
He's got his voodoo dolls. I told you.
Who is that? Oh, my God. Who is that?
That's me.
What is going on? What is going on?
So, this is my special room. This is my creative room.
I see that.
And I recreate the. I was very productive in college because I couldn't go outside because it was too cold, and I would go up to like small spaces in the library, and this is where I was most productive and could focus. So when I got this place and there's the smallest room, I was like, this is going to be my college dorm. And so I got one of those bunk beds without the bottom, a loft, and created this little space. I do a lot of writing here and a lot of practicing and stuff. So yes.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool. I didn't know where you were, but I was like, if that's what helps create that, because remember we talked about it earlier, and I don't want to push it too long here, but talking about earlier about creating that not the adventureness of a child and not so much being childish, but you had said it best where you're striving to figure out what works new for you and always learning. So I have similar stuff like that. Like all right, this is gonna be a huge secret. If I don't like, it's a weird consequence. It's a weird consequence. But like, if I don't wake up on time and like I don't do my work for the day, what are you doing that for? I go sleep in my car for the night because like I don't want. It's like a huge consequence, but it's like my accountability. It's like my huge accountability because it's like nobody wants to sleep in their car. Like I like sleeping in a bed. So that's how I never like miss a day. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, I get it. You should create that surroundings for yourself. I get it. Yeah.
That is a new one on me. I have never.
Yeah.
You are really disciplined.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
This is where I keep my xylophone, by the way. I know you've
seen.
Yo,
where's the triangle?
I don't have a triangle. You ever wanted to give me a triangle? Anyway, okay. That's going to be, I think, the show's theme song.
Oh yeah.
Ding 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 ding.
When are we getting to this final question? You keep adding.
I think he asked it.
Come on, Alex, ask it.
All right, so we always end the show with the final question here. what could you give our audience? Because I know you're going to have your own show and you guys are going to have a wonderful audience. But for the existing audience, so that we can bring them to you, we always end the show with asking our guests a question because we are in a different kind of circumstance right now. The last thing that we saw was like this was about 100 years ago. So how do you stay in a positive mindset in your working environment, in creating and being productive, and like what is it that gets you up and being able to get up during the day? Because some people can't do that right now.
Wow. Hard to articulate, but I think I definitely understand the importance of this moment. I really know that these circumstances that the entire world is experiencing are a chance to change fundamentally so many things. And I think what keeps me going and makes me even happy in a time like this is so wanting to be a part of a vital and positive part of the transformation which is happening. I don't want to just observe it. I want to be a part of it. And that when I wake up in the morning, I think, what can I do to contribute to this great change that humanity is going through right now? So I guess the one word is mission. I feel like I have a mission, and that drives me.
Wow. Okay. I appreciate that, Alex. Thank you. That was awesome, right, Andy?
Yeah. That's different.
That was an excellent closer to that, Alex. Thank you. That was a mic drop. That was a mic drop.
End meeting. No.
Awesome. Well, you guys had a show coming up, I think this Friday, right?
Yes, we do.
That'll be cool. Yeah, I can't wait for that one. So that'll be awesome. But thanks so much for doing the show for you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
Definitely.
So happy to talk about myself. No, I'm just kidding.
That was fun. That was good laughs. I needed that, actually.
That was hilarious, bro.
I knew
pushing you down the stairs.
So I knew it would be like this. So I was like, oh, awesome. Perfect.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
I really had a great time, and I so appreciate y'all.
All right, man. Well, we'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Later, Alex.
Take care. Bye.
All right.